Nobody expected Shane van Gisbergen to arrive at Chicagoland with a problem this big. For the past 2 seasons, whenever NASCAR arrived at a track where drivers had to think differently, one name immediately jumped to the top of everyone's list: Shane van Gisbergen. His ability to find grip where nobody else could, attack parts of the racetrack others refused to use, and adapt faster than the competition has turned him into one of the most feared drivers in the garage. But this weekend, that edge may not be as powerful as it usually is, because the race itself may no longer play into the strengths that have made him so dominant. And after hearing what SVG admitted before the race weekend, along with what happened during Saturday's Xfinity action and Denny Hamlin putting himself in the perfect position, this could become one of Shane van Gisbergen's toughest NASCAR challenges yet. So, is SVG really about to lose his biggest weapon? Stay with us until the end, because the answer is far more interesting than most fans realize. The biggest talking point entering Chicagoland wasn't horsepower or tire strategy. It was the racing surface. Friday's practice left plenty of drivers cautious. The track had noticeable bumps, especially entering turns 3 and 4, and almost everyone avoided venturing too far up the banking. That hesitation actually played into SVG's hands. Throughout his NASCAR career, Shane van Gisbergen has built a reputation for doing what others won't. Whether it's experimenting with different racing lines, attacking braking zones more aggressively, or finding grip in unexpected places, he's often willing to take risks long before the rest of the field follows. But then, Saturday changed everything. During the Xfinity race, more rubber was laid down across the surface. Drivers gradually started moving higher on the track, and surprisingly, the lap times stayed competitive. That immediately caught SVG's attention. When asked about it afterward, he admitted, "I saw in that Xfinity race they started moving around. So yeah, I guess our race hopefully is like that tomorrow, and we can move all over the track because we're all scared to move around and move over the bumps yesterday." That single comment may have revealed the biggest storyline of the entire weekend. If everyone can comfortably race multiple grooves, then Shane van Gisbergen loses something that has separated him from the rest of the field. His creativity no longer becomes exclusive. Everyone gains access to the same racing options. SVG also spoke about the famous black patch in turns 3 and 4, where extra grip exists, but so does one of the biggest bumps on the circuit. He admitted he had no interest in trying it first. "I looked at it, but I didn't have any interest in going up there until someone else did." He continued, "We saw today they were moving up, and lap times stayed pretty good. But when it looks bumpy in an Xfinity car, it's going to be crazy in our things." That tells you just how uncertain this race really is. The preferred groove may continue changing throughout the afternoon. Grip could appear in places nobody expected. And suddenly, every experienced Cup driver starts adapting right alongside Shane van Gisbergen instead of chasing him. Then came another interesting admission. Before arriving at Chicagoland, SVG had spent time preparing on the simulator. But once he finally hit the real track, almost everything he expected disappeared. He explained, "It felt like Kansas turning up and how everything's laid out, but got on track and it drove completely different." That isn't something you usually hear from a driver who arrives with complete confidence. Even someone as naturally gifted as Shane van Gisbergen had to adjust almost immediately. Fortunately for him, adaptation has always been one of his greatest strengths. Instead of complaining, he quickly embraced the challenge. He even added, "I think it's pretty cool. Looking at the races in the past, they tend to be pretty decent, and it felt like we're going to chase the rubber and move around. I think it'll race pretty well." So despite all the uncertainty, SVG still believes the race could produce plenty of opportunities. The problem is that he won't be the only one adapting. That's where Denny Hamlin enters the picture. While Shane van Gisbergen continues learning a track that's completely new in the Cup Series for him, Hamlin has already put himself in the best possible position. By winning the pole, Hamlin controls the start of the race. At a fast intermediate oval where clean air can make a major difference, beginning from the front gives him an immediate advantage over everyone behind him. Instead of chasing Shane van Gisbergen, the field could spend the opening stage chasing Hamlin. That changes the entire dynamic. If Hamlin establishes early control while multiple racing grooves develop behind him, SVG may find himself needing to pass some of NASCAR's strongest oval racers under equal conditions. That's a much different challenge than surprising competitors with unique racing lines. This isn't bad news because Shane van Gisbergen suddenly lacks speed. It's difficult because the advantage everyone associates with him may not be as significant this weekend. Ironically, SVG doesn't seem bothered by any of it. When asked whether he'd like both Chicagoland and the Chicago street course to remain on the schedule, he simply shrugged it off. "I don't care for that stuff. I'll race anywhere they tell us to. Bias, obviously I want more road courses, but that's how it is." That response perfectly captures why so many people respect him. Just race wherever NASCAR unloads the hauler. Even during a light-hearted exchange about Road America, Shane van Gisbergen laughed that he probably couldn't even find it on a map, despite having seen pictures of the famous circuit. Moments like that remind fans that, despite all the pressure surrounding him, SVG remains remarkably relaxed. Still, once the green flag drops, the jokes stop. Because Chicagoland may answer one very important question. Can Shane van Gisbergen dominate when everyone else finally has access to the same racing lines? Or has NASCAR arrived at the one race where his biggest competitive edge simply isn't as powerful as before, if he still finds a way to charge to the front under those conditions? It will only strengthen the argument that his success has always been about far more than road course experience. It will prove that Shane van Gisbergen isn't dangerous because the track suits him. He's dangerous because he never stops adapting. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to NASCAR Nation News for more NASCAR analysis, race updates, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.